As many kids face the reality of starting the new school year learning from home as that new year approaches, there are some hidden costs of virtual learning that parents should be aware of and should potentially be prepared for. Joining us now to talk about that is financial expert Mark Scribner. And Mark, what are some of those costs that families may not necessarily be prepared for?
Well, thanks for having me. Many of the areas across the country, daycare is, for the most part, has been shut down. So one of the inherent costs that we're seeing out there is that some families are having to pay for private daycare, which could be very, very expensive if there's not a family option that's available. In addition to that, some folks don't have computers and might just have one computer. So the technology costs can be staggering. There are some benefits out there. You could go to benefits.gov, for example, to apply for a free laptop. But the technology cost, nutrition is a big thing. Some students rely very heavily on nutrition via school. So, your kid might be hitting the refrigerator more often than not. But technology and daycare are the big ones right now.
You talked about the technology aspect of it specifically for computers, but in order to get the work done, you're actually going to need some type of Wi-Fi connection. Are basic plans available for most people? I know if some people have 2 and 3, maybe 4 kids, they're going to need a wider selection of Wi-Fi in order to be able to handle that amount of work. Is that another cost that some parents or some people may not necessarily be thinking of?
That's a big one. Like, for example, right now, AT&T has a program where it's $10 a month for bandwidth. So you can apply to them for low-cost internet provider. There's others that are out there providing services. But, if you have someone working from home and they're Zooming on a work-related call, the bandwidth could get clogged up, and then your child can't interface with their schools or just have lag, and it could be a big issue.
So where can people go? You talked a little bit about benefits.gov. Are there other places, are there other offers, other specials where people can go to try and get as much information on how to offset some of these costs that they're now incurring?
That's a big one. I mean, I'd say the first place that you want to go is check with the school. Sometimes they'll have some programs or grants that they're tied into that could give your child a free laptop or iPad. But that's the primary place is you want to go to school first, see if there's any programs there and apply to different foundations. If you Google top 15 places to get a laptop computer, there's several foundations and organizations that are out there that are offering free laptops and free technology for families.
Should families be prepared to, I guess, reassess their budgets for the long haul? Because obviously we know that this is going to be around for a while. Even though campuses and school districts are working to try and get kids back into school with the uncertainty of coronavirus, should families be prepared to plan out their budgets for a long while to kind of offset these costs, to make sure that they're covered?
Yeah, it's a big one. I mean, Google, for example, just has given $1,000 to each employee to work from home. I think they're slated to bring their employees back in July of 2021. So it's going to be around for a while. And these expenses like daycare, nutrition, maybe a private tutor that's out there if your child's struggling or needs some extra help, these are all added costs that a lot of folks aren't factoring into their budgets. So I would say the first thing that they want to do is try to get rid of any extra types of stuff that are not necessary. Go through, do like a budget cleanse, what we like to say, and look at anything that you can cut right now, because we don't know how long this is going to happen, but you have to prepare for the worst right now.
That's right, we definitely do. And as you mentioned, just everything is up in the air with school, with work. Everything is just being dictated by the current conditions that we're living in. Thanks so much for spending time with us, Mark. We greatly appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.